Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday live stream. We took a little vacation yesterday, just had some things going on, but we are back. Today we got a lot of things to go over, so let's just jump right into it. So today, just like the title and the thumbnail suggest, there is some major pushback to the Clarity Act. And yes, we're going to talk about 2029 and what that all means, but really what it comes down to is this. There is a dichotomy. There's a split between what people think is going to happen in 2026. Some people say that the four-year cycle is intact and we're going to have a major, massive downfall. Other people say the four-year cycle never existed anyhow, and it actually is destructive, and we're going to see a super cycle coming in. And what we talked about here on the show was you really need four things to happen: liquidity, economy, regulation, institutions. And today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about two of those factors as it pertains to today's show: regulation and economy. So first thing, as you may have already known, a lot of people talk about this, CPI and inflation looks like it came in pretty good. Everybody's exuberant, very jubilant out there. People are quite happy. And we get to see that CPI year over year, it was 2.7%. The expectation was 2.7, and we get 2.7. Pretty great. This is, of course, Tuesday, January 13th. And when we look at core CPI, which everybody's been talking about, how great it is and how far inflation is dropping, it's all right. But it's the same thing, because it looked like previous was 0.2% for core CPI. The expectation was the consumer price index for inflation actually go up by 0.1%, and it actually didn't. It went 0.2%. So everybody who's talking about inflation is massively going up, the tariff is causing that, there are problems in the economy, there are cracks, that may not be the case. And this is the data that we have. But it's not so much the data, because people will say, well, it doesn't really matter because that's all fake anyhow. It doesn't matter. That's what the Fed's looking at. That's what they're going to base their opinion on as far as if they're going to cut or raise rates. So we have those things, and the economy is looking like that's how it should go. But, if you take a look at what we've been talking about as far as truflation, they've been saying for quite some time, months and months, that look, inflation is going down. The Fed does not follow along, and it's getting old data. And they were absolutely correct, 100%. So even though we haven't seen a major uptick, we haven't seen tariff causing it, there is a little slight reduction or maintenance. Inflation is flat or a little bit of a reduction, and that is good news. So what does that mean for rate cuts? Well, it's great. However, unemployment, sometimes good news is bad news. Unemployment came out. We went from 4.5% to 4.4%. So we're actually reducing the unemployment rate. I believe that job openings are also reducing as well. So that doesn't bode well. So we take a look at rate cuts. The current target is 350 to 375. And the next meeting is 28th of January. There is a 97.2%. They're not going to cut anything. Good news is they're not going to raise. So that's what's going on with the Federal Reserve. Everybody talked yesterday about the Department of Justice having a subpoena for the Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell. So I'm not going to delve into that. What we're going to delve into is the second part of this whole piece, not just the economy, but regulation. So the Clarity Act, as is dictated here by Polymarket, it had a pretty good chance today. And it was, this just popped up. I just like to talk about Polymarket because it's kind of just, we can kind of see where things are going. There was a huge drop off, then it came right back. This is just, predictive markets. Got to tell you, Polymarket did a great job for the recent presidential election and some recent elections and some other things that has gotten right. So I just want to take a look at this. 53% chance, that's not the big thing. The big thing is this. Charles Hoskinson had an interview, and in this one, he pretty much lays out why. I haven't really thought about it, but this particular instance, but I can see why that is. So I'm going to have you take a listen to this. Take a listen. Tell me if you think this is way out of line or if this is right where things probably will go. Take a listen.
We live in years and years of ambiguity. And I tell you, if we can't get it past this year, David Sachs should resign. He failed us as an industry. We lost our window to pass clarity. I don't honestly believe it's going to pass in Q1. And if it does, it'll be by the skin of its teeth. And the problem is it's a midterm. So nothing gets done in a midterm election. It's very polarizing. How could the Democrats be like crypto equals Trump equals bad, but we're just going to go vote for this bipartisan crypto framework and give Trump credit for regulating crypto? They're just not going to do it. They're going to go hardcore Gary Gensler because that's their talking point to win re-election or to win election. So we lost our window, and I'm very pessimistic that we're going to be able to get it back until probably 2029.
Okay, so that's just one person saying it. I got you, right? Charles Hoskinson, not like he's perfect, for Pete's sakes, we all know. But it is interesting what he talks about as far as midterms, and that is pretty much in line with our thesis here on the channel. Now, you don't have to take my advice. You don't have to take a listen to this. You can actually leave right now. That's fine. But midterm election years, which is 2 years after every presidential election, we are in a midterm year. And historically speaking, if you go back all the way from S&P 500 during presidential cycles, midterm years, it is the worst year for traditional markets and by far the crypto markets. You're going to see the US stock market return across the election cycle, midterm year. Some years they can have positive, but coincidentally over time, it's actually probably, again, the worst year that you can possibly have. And all you have to do is take no look further than our market. And it goes like this. We have a halving, 2012, which coincidentally is a presidential election. In 2013, we have an all-time high. Why does this happen? We believe, and it's not just us actually, it's a lot of people believe this, is that once you get the president of the United States into the office, then the market can settle down and go, okay, this is the direction where we're going. It doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat. They just know, okay, this is where this guy is going. So we understand that. We don't have the ambiguity. They want to invest year after presidential elections. Usually pretty good. Great for us, all-time highs every single time. Every single time, even 2025. You get a dip and a reset, right? And the dip is the midterms. So 2012, President Barack Obama, 2014, mid-year. 2016, what'd you have? Presidential election. Who was that? Trump. And then what do we have? 2017, all-time high. Ooh, good times. 2018, the midterm year, massive, massive drop down. We fell roughly 86% from the all-time high. That is a midterm year. 19, 20, 21, 22. What did we get in 2020? Biden. 2022, midterm year. What do we have? Massive dip. Also had this thing called a coronavirus. I don't know if you remember it. It's a big thing. Then, of course, we have a halving and an all-time high. Then off we go. So we can just see here midterm, midterm, midterm. And where are we at? We're in a midterm year. And that's it. So, of course, this is drop downs and things like that. So why is that such a big thing? It's because the market doesn't like ambiguity. And just like what Charles Hoskinson said about, I believe he's right on some of these things. The Clarity Act may pass, but it'll be by the skin of his teeth. And if it does pass, it'll be a miracle, quite honestly. If we get out of Q1 going into Q2, that's when the engine starts to rev up. And I believe, and it's not just me, a lot of people are believing the same thing, the Democrats will win the House. Senate looks to be relatively safe. House is going to go. And if they have that, they can put a lot of pressure on the president and the presidential administration right now. And because of that, the Clarity Act is not on the docket and is not being supported that much for Democrats. Tell me where I'm wrong here. Let me know in the comments section and we'll go from there. Lastly, I will say this Clarity Act is interesting because all acts and all things that we think are good for the crypto space, we believe it's good. Maybe we haven't done enough research. Maybe I'm wrong on this. This is from Aaron Day, and I want you guys to take a look at this. I'll link this in the description. Every crypto bro is sharing this bill is either on Coinbase's payroll or can't read. I read all 278 pages, you're getting played. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I want you to do that. But he makes a good statement just to give you reared up for what he's talking about. Coinbase gets a regulatory moat that buries competitors. Do you think Brian Armstrong is lobbying for your freedom? Probably not. Chainalysis, for example, gets permanent government contracts. How big of that would that be for Chainalysis, if true? Surveillance is a service funded by your tax dollars, and it goes on and on. Again, links in the description. You can check that out. You can tell me what you think of. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. We talk about is time sensitive. Oh, there is one more thing, matter of fact. The market's kind of boring, I must say. So I'm giving away $10 to everybody who signs up for Stake, the first 50 people. If you don't know what Stake is, it's essentially gambling. If you want to gamble, you can do meme coins and stuff like that, or you can do Stake. A friend of mine called me up and said, hey, how would you like to give away some money? I was like, you know what? My subscribers like money. I'll do that. It's okay. Have them sign up for Stake. Stake is just an online gambling. And just so you know, if you're in the United States, there is an option for it, stake.us, but unfortunately, you're not eligible for this giveaway. So anyhow, sign up for Stake. There's a link there. Post your username, post your Tether address for BEP20 or BNB. And first of all, good job, Phil Handley, who listens to my show and obviously thinks it's a scam. It's not a scam, but kudos to him for pointing that out. And that's how you should think. Anyhow, all you got to do is just put in your username and your wallet, and we'll send you $10. The first 50 people. And links in the description. And that's it for today. So, like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. Let's get into a little Q&A. All right. Yeah, Ed's right. Rob, sounds like we're going to need another guest to cover the Clarity Act specifics. Maybe I'll reach out to Aaron Day. He did a pretty good job for that post, I must say. Let's see. Gosh, is less boring than it has been for a week or so. You know, it's true. It's nice to have a nice appreciation day, a nice green day. This is pretty good. So, but I got to tell you, tell me if you think like I think. I think there's like a nice little pump day and everybody's excited. Maybe they get some news about CPI. Maybe they get some news about tariffs. Maybe they get some macro news. Maybe there's some news on-chain analysis will look pretty good. And we get a nice little pump. But it seems like we always revert back to the mean, which is 90K. And then we just kind of go sideways for a while. At least that's what it's been for quite some time. I don't know. That's how I think things are going. Don't worry, Congress won't read it either. That's probably true. Well, no, Congress doesn't read it. It's the aides that read the bills. And then the aides go to the House or to the representatives and say, this is what it is. This is what we should, here's our thesis. And they just give them like cliff notes for the bill. And they say yes or no. Only the few that are really into it will really take hold and read the whole 300 pages or so. Yeah. News pump just for the dump? Could be. Hey, old man. If one man, Trump, and one meme coin by him was able to ruin crypto, then crypto was BS anyway. If it could not come back, we decided to say it October 10th, ruin crypto, and I think Trump did or didn't do. Yeah, there's some truth to that. Because if the whole market is that fragile to where the president of the United States puts his name behind the most ridiculous meme coin of all time, and then his wife gets in there and does the same thing, well, it doesn't give us much confidence in the market itself, but I think we all knew meme coin was just a money grab anyhow. I mean, most of us did. Some people actually thought it was going to be the next future of finance. But for all those things that happened, yeah, it is. We would say something if it, destroyed our markets, but I don't think it was the meme coins. October 10th, with the API integrations from Binance, and then they're able to pretty much collapse the market. Market makers got liquidated massively. A lot of people got liquidated massively, and now here we are, still trying to pick up the pieces. It seems kind of odd if you think about it. I mean, we have sovereign nations investing into Bitcoin. I mean, the ETF for Bitcoin is the most successful ETF I think BlackRock has ever had. And now there's other banks getting into it on the heels of the main ones have already gone through. We got legislation being talked about. We've got, for Pete's sakes, we have the president of the United States talking about how he's going to make crypto, or the United States, the crypto capital of the world. And when you tell me that an API integration crashed the whole market, we can't recover from that, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Let's see. Maryland. Oh, Bitcoin's at 94K. Congratulations, everybody. We did it. Yeah, man. I mean, it sure did. Yeah. Trump is the most prominent individual in the country. He set a horrible example. Now everyone doesn't know about crypto, associates crypto even more with corruption than before. Well, I don't know. I mean, Sam Bankman-Fried did a pretty good job. Alex Mashinsky did a pretty good job. And, Do Kwon, I would say he's like a runner-up as far as like making things to be a disaster that is crypto. But yeah, Trump is on another level, that's for sure. Let's see. That might be it. Sequoia says, he put a dent in the confidence of investors. My folks are watching that, scared them away from crypto. I don't know. Let's see. Spiraling says, Clarity Act not going through was a bad thing. That was the point I was trying to make. I didn't I think I didn't do a good job of that, which was if there is that much state observation and looking at everything we do, and we have to get pretty much ridiculed and looked at under a microscope for every transaction, which is what the Clarity Act is somewhat saying in some way, shape, or form. And we're going to award this to some of the biggest companies, Coinbase being one of them. Maybe this isn't a good bill to go through. Maybe we're so hopeful to get this bull market back that we're willing to sell our soul to get a huge fat pump. I'm just saying. I mean, I remember when I was gushing over the fact that Gary Gensler was coming in because this guy was teaching at MIT, and he was telling people just how great crypto was. And he almost he didn't destroy it, but he made a big, huge problem for digital asset market for quite some time. Even though, I will remind everybody, he was the deciding factor for the Bitcoin ETF. And it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have a spot ETF. Just saying. Let's see. Jay Steve says, so the Clarity Act is not passing this year. We will fell for it again. I'm not saying it won't. I'm just saying there's a compelling argument for why it would be pushed to 2029. And of course, the last thing is why 2029? Well, midterm year 2026. And then when the House gets changed over to Democrats, with their leader, Elizabeth Warren, don't crucify me. I don't make the rules. Elizabeth Warren is pretty big up there as far as in the Senate. She kind of like leads the charge against us. I don't see it passing in 2027 either. Then 2028, we'll have a presidential election again. And depending on what happens, usually 1 year after that, we have a pretty big year. But, that's just me thinking in the 4-year cycle term. Everybody tells me it's dead. 4-year cycles are dead. We'll see. So far, it's actually played out. Let's see. No, she's a senator. She can't be a Speaker of the House. Exchanges, clearing leverage, winter mute on October 10th. Anybody who thinks it's Trump's fault doesn't know too much. Well, I mean, it didn't help. Let's just say that. Elizabeth Warren is a monster of human. I don't think she's that awful. I don't think Elizabeth Warren is that awful. Just because she hates or dislikes us. Hate's a very strong word. It's what my mom would always tell me. Hate's a strong word, but Elizabeth Warren, I mean, I remember her, really railing against the banks, fighting for the little guy. And I guess we're not the little guy anymore. Crypto, that is. So we'll see. Jay Davis. Hey, Rob, thank you again for the Smart Money Crypto. One of our winners in the 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. You're welcome. Glad it all worked out. Yeah. Stable says, well, even with Trump stuff, we went to an all-time high. So how we heard anything? I mean, it doesn't matter who's in the office. I mean, Obama was in 2012 and we had an all-time high in 2013, the big blow off top. And then Trump was in the office in 2016, 17. Then Biden was in the office 2021. Now we got Trump again. So it's like, we got I'm not going to say the best of both worlds because, I guess the best of half a world, I guess, that Bitcoin doesn't really care too much. It just would be great if we have that Clarity Act that would distinguish, who's in control of commodities, who's in control of digital assets. The SEC, is the CFTC, is the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, or the OCC? Who really does this? And then as far as like with stable coins, can we get some kind of yield on that? And could we, there was one more thing that I forgot to mention, which I thought was pretty funny. So we were so up in arms about CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, and thinking about like how they would destroy us. It would be the worst thing of all time. And there was this post that reminded me that it really doesn't matter, even if we're talking about stables. Update over the weekend, Tether froze $182 million in Tron-based USDT across 5 wallets. So just remember that when we're talking about stable coins versus CBDCs. Stable coins they fall victim to the very same problem that CBDCs can, which is an authoritative government standing over it, telling the organization what to do. It is what it is. So it's either you're going to have the government doing that or the government telling a company to do that. One of those two. And then don't think that USDC is any safer, because they've done the same thing. They've frozen accounts before. Now, some of these accounts may be terrorists, may be the cartel. I don't know. I would hope so, but it could be just regular person who unfortunately got caught up in the wrong thing. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, Tether and USDC, again, are 93% of the whole stablecoin market. So if you think CBDCs are the worst awful thing that could ever happen, the same thing as with CBDCs can happen with these. And that's it. All right. What? Buy more Bitcoin? That's a good one. Thanks, Ed. Dirty Dan, what's your crystal ball say about AI coins? You buying any? I got a boatload of Aether, so I'm good right there. And if we're looking at computes and how far along we are for AI, I would invest into that because we need a lot of compute. Need a lot of electricity too. Oh, and also, thank you everybody for Sunday when me and Jerry talked about our delve into AI. I know it was a sharp departure from digital assets, so I probably won't do that again. I got the feedback, which was, we don't come to your show, Rob, for you to talk about creating apps and talking about AI. Got it. But just so you know, I was very happy everybody got to watch that. And I actually launched the AI website for the animal shelter. And they're extremely happy. So thanks for everybody's feedback. We'll do it again. Let's see. And I think this is where we should leave it. You know you're safe with Pepe, USDC coin for sure. Stablecoin and a meme coin together sounds beautiful. Anyhow, that's it for today. So look, everybody, again, if you'd like to have a little fun for the gambling portion, just remember that stake.com. It's not available in all the places. Use that code, links in the description. And then when you do it, just remember to put your username and address, stick it in the post, which is this one right here, and I'll send you $10. Actually, I won't send you $10. It's the friend of a friend who got me to give away $500. And that's it for today. Thanks so much, everybody. See you in the next one. Adios.